We're here with what's your name, sir?
My name is Jim Curran. I'm chairman of the Irish Civil Rights Association, and I'm also chairman of Civil Rights International.
Oh, that's great. And what can you just explain a wee bit about the organisation, sir?
Yeah, well, no, that's about myself, but this group here, we are from there's a camp outside the American Embassy formed by the South London Friends of Palestine, and we are a group of individuals from that camp, and we come here Monday to Friday from 12 o'clock to 2 o'clock. We're outside of the gates of Parliament here, where the members of Parliament come in and out, and we're here to focus attention on Palestine. We're calling for an end to violence and an end to killing.
Yeah, and why? Because people are going to ask, why has the Hamas not just released the hostages to stop it? What's the thought process behind the?
Yeah, well, there's about 10,000 Palestinian hostages in Israeli jails. I was involved with the Irish peace process, and in the Irish peace process, we accorded the status of prisoners of war to our people who had fought for the freedom of Ireland, and some people have been hijacked from Palestine, extradited and put in prison in Israel, and there's over 10,000, and I consider every one of them prisoners or hostages. They've all been extradited from the Palestinian territory and in jail. So I am concerned about all hostages, but you just can't come along and talk about Jewish hostages and ignore the 10,000 Palestinian hostages in Israeli jail. And many of them are young people. Some of them have only been, the only offence that they have committed was throwing stones at Israeli state terrorists occupying their lands.
Do the Jews not come from there?
Well, no, the founding Jews did not come from there. The people who set up Israel, I don't think there was a single one of them born in Palestine. They were all from Eastern European, from Germany, Poland, and from Russia. And when they set up their organisation, Ergun, hardly any of the people from Ergun were born in Palestine.
No, I mean, do the Jews not come from there? That's what I mean. Are the Jews not from?
Well, yes.
And are the Palestinians not Arabs?
No, they all come from that area. They all come from that area. But I do not believe in. You see, Balfour was the man that partitioned Ireland.
And Lord Rothschild.
No. Balfour was appointed as Secretary of State for Ireland on the 8th of September 1887. And he was the one that drew up the partition plans for Ireland. And it was those partition plans for Ireland in 1920 that was used for the partition of Palestine in 1948. And now in Ireland what we have is we have a peace process. We had a permanent ceasefire, and then we had talks and a peace process, and now we have the Good Friday Agreement. And if you're living in the occupied part of Ireland, if you're either a citizen of Ireland or a citizen of the United Kingdom, we have got equality. There's no discrimination. And that's what I want now for Palestine.
Well, let me ask you a question. I don't know if you know this. Where am I from?
Well, I suppose you're from you're one of my Celtic brothers, I believe. You're from Scotland. And I have gone to Scotland, and I have campaigned for the independence of Scotland.
Right.
I took part in the referendum for the independence of Scotland.
Right, but here's my question
Yes.
for you, right? You ready? Because I understood what you were saying there. So, where are the Scots from?
Well, some of them are from originally came over from Ireland, and more. Yes. But to be fair,
Were they the original plantation?
No. Some of the Scots are also Norse people. And then when the Red come and got murdered in front of the altar in Dumfries, That was that was the infusion of the Norse Celtic.
You're right. I'm Celtic as well. I do recognise that. So I'm your Celtic. Some people like some of the not the original Scotai, but the people that came over after the famine. Still.
No.
Listen what I'm saying to you. Still feel that they're Irish, but they've been born and brought up in Scotland. Why do you think that is?
Well,
the Scotai don't. The people who are Scottish.
No, everybody likes to cling to their roots. See, and then if you take the Irish involvement in Scotland, St Columba went to Iona in 563, and then the monks from Iona went down to Lindisfarne, Northumbria,
were they?
and founded founded a monastery there. And then they taught the Saxon kings how to read and write because they were illiterate.
Who were the original inhabitants of what is now called Scotland, named after the Irish invaders from the original plantationers?
No.
I'm only kidding. I'm only joking.
I know that, but all these islands were Celtic islands.
They were Celtic. No, you're right.
All
I
of
agree
them,
with you.
even here. I mean, if we look over there at Westminster Bridge, there's a statue of Boadicea.
And she was a Celtic
queen.
But what was she though? She was a Brythonic Celtic queen.
Well, it doesn't matter what she was. She was because
no, I don't disagree.
The Celts from the Isle of Man and Cornwall and Scotland and Wales and
no, but the original. What I'm trying to say. Well, no, let me put this to you, right. So the original inhabitants of where I'm from in Strathclyde were Brythonic Celts, so they were similar to what is now called the Welsh. Welsh means
probably
Welsh is foreign, foreign in English.
Probably.
So, but they were the original Celtic Britons.
Probably.
But you're right. I do. We are both Celts.
Yes.
But some people say. And from the not the Scotai, but from the last 200 years,
the Picts are
they're Brythonic.
Yeah.
But anyway, the Irish, some of the people that came over after the famine are think that they're a different race. Listen.
Not famine, the Holocaust. The Irish Holocaust.
Oh, the Holocaust. Okay, I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
There was no famine.
Yeah. So the Holocaust.
There was a failure of the potato crop, but no famine.
No. I agree. And they were stopping them fishing. I just found that yesterday. So, but they say like George Galloway and there's a guy called Tommy Sheridan, and they're saying that they think they're a different race or even a different ethnicity, which is nonsense. Well, because you're right, I agree with you. Both the Britons and the Irish are both Celtic. I agree with you. Totally agree.
I mean, there's two issues I don't agree with George Galloway. George Galloway doesn't campaign for the independence of Scotland, and he also opposed the European Union. He was opposed to Scotland remaining in the European Union.
I totally agree with him on that.
No,
he's a good guy.
No. On the island of Ireland and Scotland, the vast majority of people want to remain in the European Union. So what I want is a free Ireland and a free Scotland in the European Union.
But you've been involved in the peace process in Ireland, which I think is great. But a lot of the what are called Ulster Scots, but they're not actually Ulster Scots. They're actually Ulster Britons. They're probably from the Brythonic part of Scotland who went over to Ireland. The majority of them, some of them are English as well.
But they're largely confused. You see, but they have United Kingdom passports. But you see, in an independent Scotland, they would have a Scottish passport. You see, I have an Irish passport. You see, and it says that I am a citizen of Ireland. See, and a Scottish passport would also say that they will be citizens of Scotland. And if you take the present amount of money that Scotland contributes to the British defence budget and to NATO, that would sustain an army in Scotland and a navy and an air force almost the size of Ireland.
But let me ask you a question. Why do you think that Scotland should be called Scotland? Let me finish this thing, mate. Do you think Scotland should be called Scotland and not Britain, considering the original inhabitants were the Britons? The Picts were Britons. The people in what was Edinburgh just now, which was called Godobin, were Britons, and the original language was not Gaelic, which is Irish, a dialect of Irish, it was Common Brythonic. Do you not think it should be called Northern Britain or Britain or Caledonia after the original inhabitants?
No. Well, I mean, if we're going to follow that line, Yorkshire will be Northern England.
It wouldn't be Northern England, no. It'd be the Healing Nog or whatever it was originally called. So, listen, this is one of the great things that you're right. What's your name again, sir?
Jim.
So, Jim, we love the Irish. It's not. I think people make far too much of the fact that we don't love the Irish. We love the Irish, I've got a lot of friends who are from the Irish diaspora that came over. And it's always good to see them shout at each other at the Old Firm games. I don't know, have you been to an Old Firm game, Jim? So it's always entertaining. It's always entertaining seeing them all shout at each other. So Jim, back to what we're here for. So the Palestinians, what's the you've already said you were in the process for peace in Ireland. So what's the peace process
well,
here?
We were the same in Ireland. The first, you see, whether the British liked it or not, they had to talk to the IRA, and then the Israelis are going to have to talk to Hezbollah, and they're going to have to talk to Hamas. And in relation to Lebanon, they have already talked to Hamas in the last week, so they've agreed to a ceasefire. So they want to continue on with this in relation to Palestine, and there will have to be a permanent ceasefire. Then they will have to have talks and then a peace process. Now the peace process involved, take for instance the Irish, we all met here in London in Congress House, where about 4 people from all the belligerents and from all the different groups, including the gays, lesbians and the crowd, women's groups, they all met there. Now when I went to that...
In the peace process in Ireland?
In Congress House here in London.
No, but for the peace process.
No, but this was for the peace process in Ireland. During the process, it meant that 4 people from all of the different groups in Ireland came to London here to Congress House. And Ian Paisley and Mark McGuinness both phoned me and asked me would I try to persuade the people to end the military campaign and go for the ballot box. And the first thing that I done was, when I went there, I'm not going to name him, but I went and I shook hands with one of the loyalists, a very militant loyalist, who probably had killed scores of Catholics. Probably would have shot me at an earlier time had I been in Belfast. So I went and I shook hands with him and I welcomed him to London. And he introduced me to some of the other more militant loyalists. And we ended up the next day in Jury's Hotel.
Having a great old time, I bet you.
A couple of 100 yards away from the thing beside the British Museum, talking to each other as if we were lifelong friends.
Well, I mean, before the trouble started, the Catholics and the Protestants stayed together, didn't they? They were actually neighbours before the trouble started, was it not?
Well, where, you see, but it's the interest of the English or British politicians to divide and rule, and this is what they're doing wherever they have been. It is not just with the Irish. Wherever they went around the world, this was a tactic that they employed. So now I think that particularly the young people, both in Scotland and Ireland, have seen through all this.
Northern Britain.
And you see, as a result of the Erasmus program of the European Union, that means that students from the occupied part of Ireland can go to other European nations, whereas the students here from England or even Scotland and Wales, I don't think they can avail of that facility. So what happens is the Irish government has given about 40 million euros to it, and they persuaded the European Union to grant a similar sum. So if you're a student in the occupied part of Ireland and you want to take part in university education in the 27 nations of the European Union, you can go there. And a lot of the unionists are now taking Irish passports so they can avail of this.
So, but let me ask you a question though. That's all very well and good, and that could happen even outside the EU. But I would prefer to give up that right and not be governed by 28 unelected commissioners in Brussels.
No, in the free part of Ireland, we have representatives in the European Parliament,
Yeah.
and we have a democratic election, and they.
Yeah, no, but
join
see,
it. No, but when Scotland joins into when Scotland gets independence and goes into the European Union as an independent nation, you will also have your.
Not if I can help it, Jim.
Well,
Not if I can help it.
We want to.
I'll be standing with George Galloway.
George Galloway is on the fringes of politics.
Oh, he's great guy. He's a lovely fella. Me, Georgie Porgy.
Yeah, well, he's a friend of mine, and we share something in common. Both our grandmothers were called O'Reilly.
Well, I was going to say.
George Galloway is more Irish than he is Scottish.
Well, Jim, at least you had more balls than Georgie Porgy. Wee Georgie has not come on the Guerilla TV channel. He's been more than welcome.
Why?
Why? He bottled it.
Why?
He bottled it.
Why?
He bottled it. They're all welcome to come on. There's no thing, and I'm quite nice, Jim. I'm not, as you rightly pointed out. So, but no, that's great, Jim. I think you've
Oh no,
started it.
I do a lot of it. Because I have also had many very hostile interviews with a whole lot of hostile stations. So that doesn't bother me.
I don't do it unless somebody needs it.
No, because you see, under Article 10 and 11 of the European Human Rights Act, you see, that gives you freedom of speech and freedom of expression and freedom. I'm free to display this. I'm free to speak to you and free to display this because of Article 10 and 11 of the European Human Rights Act.
Aye, Jim, I'm Scottish. I can just do whatever I choose anyway. Or Northern Brythonic.
well, no. You see, you Scots have been like the Indians. You've been coolies in English for several hundred years.
I think you were the similar at one point, Jim. Listen, thanks very much.
Okay.
Welcome to the Guerilla TV
All
channel.
the best,
And hopefully you'll come up to Scotland and see us, or Northern Britain. Thanks, John.